Hey everyone, how's it going? My name's Spencer, and welcome to the Draft Addicts podcast. I'm here tonight with a special guest, Matthew, a.k.a. Sheep, a.k.a. Dark Sheep, from the Stacking Dingers podcast. Super excited to have Matthew on drafting with me tonight. So before we get going, just wanted to kind of touch on a few things as far as schedule. So the schedule here is we're going to go live every Tuesday night and draft, and then every weekend, either on Friday or Saturday night. And this Saturday, we've got a guest on that I met doing a show with Matthew on Stacking Dingers, Brad. His Twitter is at BRDMC3. And looking forward to having Brad on Saturday and talking about stacks. So that's going to be super fun. Well, without further ado, let's bring on tonight's guest, Matthew, a.k.a. Dark Sheep. How's it going, my friend?
It is going well, Spencer. It is a wonderful. It's Wednesday, right? No, Tuesday. I just said you draft on Tuesday.
It's a wonderful weekday.
I'm already out of it this week.
It's no problem. I see Joe in the chat. What's up, Joe? Well, let me tell you this. Tonight is my 61st draft of the Dinger, so I am overpaced. But the way I'm looking at it is okay. So if I do one or two a stream, then I can do one or two a day, and we've got like 50 days, and I still got to do about 85 to 90 more drafts. So I think I'll finish at a good spot with taking me right to the end of this.
Okay.
What are you sitting at?
I've got 10 completed and 6 slows going. Most of my drafting this year has been slow drafts. And that's putting me about on my pace for 80 or 90. So if you go, I try to evenly go through with the fill rate if I can. I don't try too hard, but that's kind of my goal.
So, but you do slow drafts. So you mix in fast drafts and slow drafts. That's one thing for me is I'm pretty much just a fast drafter. I mean, I like slow drafts, but I just find myself in Underdog to just be kind of leaning towards the fast.
Yeah, it's just more of a time thing with and especially in the next few weeks, Stacking Dingers, we're going to be going to 2 shows a week. So a lot of my evening time is prepping or recording for those shows. And then now I started doing some streaming again for the first time last Friday. So it's been, what little downtime kind of goes to that. And then, that the stream's getting fast drafts, but otherwise, slows just kind of work for my schedule.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And that's the thing is, everyone's got different life schedules. And like, I don't have kids. I'm not married. I'm a single guy. So I work and I come home and I sit here and I draft and I work on fantasy baseball stuff. So
your spreadsheets are your kids.
That's it. Bobby Boucher in the chat. What's going on? Joe says he's at 63 and he's a fast guy also.
Yeah. I mean, he says he can't stand slow drafts. One of the key things to having slow drafts is having multiple going at a time. And then, kind of, a couple of times throughout the day, I'll check in and do my picks for all the ones I'm on the clock on and, kind of spread it out throughout the day.
You're absolutely right. And that's the key. That is the key. Multiple slow drafts at once, because back whenever I was doing a lot of best ball 10s, those were mostly all slow drafts. And 100% the key for me was I just did all of them. So I was constantly had anywhere between 5 to 20 going. And yeah, it would definitely made it fun to always have something to go look at. Bobby says draft number 48 for him. So want to go ahead and check this out. Before we jump in, I'm going to see what the lobby's looking like. And because if it's okay, 8 more to fill. So guys, anyone who's here that wants to jump in, Matthew, if you're ready, why don't we go ahead and jump in with 8 more and
sure.
We'll be able to get this going here shortly. We're at 5 more.
My location services on my PC have been annoying, so I tend to have to join on my phone and then
I've done the exact same thing. You're in, aren't you?
I am.
All right, sweet. Yeah, look what I've got here, Matthew. I've got my iPad
Yeah.
that I just have right here next to me, and that's what I'm using because I found the same thing trying to join on the website. It's giving me that location thing, and I'm like, oh yeah, we're not dealing with that. All right, so I'm going to get the draft board pulled up here and add that onto the stream.
You get the lovely 12th position.
Oh, I got that sweet, sweet turn. Nice. What did you get?
Number 8.
Number 8
there.
All right, so let's see who else we got in here. So I see Joe at pick number 1. I see I Was Inverted at 4. Bobby Boucher at 5. We've got Old Dark Sheep, like you said, at 8. And anyone else who is in here that's in the chat, say hey.
He's not in the chat, but my buddy Rip Sewell is there at 6.
Oh, nice, awesome. Got one of your buddies in here, and then let's see. So Paul says, "Kid went down super fast, so I made this fast draft." Awesome. That's I Was Inverted. Good to see you, buddy. All right, so we are underway. We are underway. Judge at 1. We have a judge at pick 1 alert. There we go. Got it added into the stage. All right.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, what's your opinion? Does Shohei Ohtani have 2 times the injury risk of another player?
So I was actually just about to ask you this exact thing as to if you ever go judge over Shohei at 1. Here's how I handle it because I draft all the time. Now, I do feel this would be different if I was someone who just did a certain number of drafts, but because I draft all the time, you have to get lucky to get pick number 1 the way I see it. So yeah. I take Shohei when I get pick number 1, and when I get pick number 2, I take Judge. Or sometimes I'll get pick number 2 and get Shohei because Judge will go 1, Yeah. So that's just the way I handle it. I go by the ADP with those 2 guys. So far, I've gotten lucky, and I have got a lot of Shohei so far. But as we move into like my final 50 drafts, I might actually at that point swap them to kind of bring my shares closer together. Because right now I've gotten very little Judge and a lot of Shohei.
Sure. Yeah, I'm in the same boat. So I want some of both, so take them both. I don't want to fully fade Ohtani.
I have a question for you because I think this is super interesting what you just did. You went Julio over Tucker. I'm interested to know your reasoning for that.
I think Tucker's getting a little too much Dodgers steam. And I think Julio still has a ceiling season in him that we haven't seen. And now they added Brandon Donovan. I just they've put a great offense around him again. And yeah. So
I think that's a great answer because I've been wondering, is Kyle Tucker getting a little bit too much Dodger steam? I've been wondering the same thing myself because I've been susceptible to it. I've taken Tucker basically right at 5 or 6 right after Schwarber is the way I've been doing it because I've not been taking Bobby Witt very often. But I've been second guessing that and wondering. So I think that's very interesting. That's why I just was wondering why you did that. But I agree completely in that there's an untapped Julio ceiling that we haven't seen yet.
Right. Yeah. Let me just look through. Yeah. So I got about even of them on my 50 bullpens. It's hard. The annoying thing about doing slows is that you don't have a full pulse on your exposures. You can only look at the completed ones, so it is kind of hard for me to know, like in this moment, like which of those 2 guys I have more of, and because eventually I'd like that to be even, but I don't have Julio in any of my finished ones, and I have 1 Tucker, so yeah. And I think as far as, we were talking about getting these guys, Judge and Otani, picking them at the front for a reason. We want exposures to both of them. But I think at the end, like, there's enough rooms that get strange that you don't have to necessarily always take the guy that's right there at an EDP, and you can still end up with even exposures.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy. Yep. I'm just Rooker and Kurtz at 10 and 11. These guys have they been going out that high?
They have been getting pushed. Yes, they have. The steam has been real. Although that's the first time I have seen them go at 10 and 11. A lot of times It's been Rooker as high as 10 and then Kurtz with the come around to the Rooker owner.
Right.
Or, Rooker at 11 and then Kurtz. But this is the first time I think that I've seen Rooker and Kurtz go 10 and 11.
Yeah, I've done it at the 12 and 13, taking the two of them. So that's pretty interesting.
Billy's in the chat. He says, "What's up? How's it going, Billy Jones?"
I think people putting them at 12 and 13 is kind of brought their ADP up, and now people are looking at them a little bit higher than they used to be going, and saying, "Hey, I could bump them up another couple of spots."
Yeah, well, you're absolutely right. That's exactly what's happening, and I don't know if I agree with it, to be honest with you. I guess time will tell, but I think that at the 12 it makes sense, right? Because you're trying to pair them together, you're forcing that to happen, and then you're going to try and stack the athletics later on.
Yeah.
But like spending up at the 10 for Rooker, or the 11 for Kurtz, and getting them on their own. I don't know. I think it might be getting a little bit, I don't want to say too cute, but it's just a little bit too steamed up for me over Tatis and, Vlad and Jose Ramirez, Ellie, etc.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you had Tatis, Guerrero. Where are you looking to go here?
So I'm looking at going outfield for sure with my first one.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, I'm going for Riley Green. I'm just going to take his power and not worry about the Ks. This is tough though, because now this is a good fall for Matt Olson or Junior Caminero, because I really want to take another outfielder, as I'm sure you can imagine.
Right.
But I think I'm going to take the fall of Matt Olson and go ahead and grab him here, because that feels like a good ADP fall.
Yeah, I like both those guys at the beginning of round 3, so getting them here is awesome.
And I see you went with Randy, so you got the pairing with Julio, which I love that.
Yeah,
Cal Raleigh went the pick before. Would you have taken Cal if he would have made it instead of Randy, if you had choice of both?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Back to you.
I am looking at Tyler Ward here, to go with Gunnar, and I think that's just what we're going to do. We're going to stay stacked for these first few picks.
I love that. I was about to say, with the Gunnar pick that you did over Ellie, I think that Ward there, you set yourself up perfectly to grab Ward there. So I love that. I wanted to tell you with Ward, one thing that the last couple years, I've not really been on Ward, but after last year and him going to Baltimore, I'm just fully buying in on that power. And I think the power will even go up from what we saw in Baltimore. In Los Angeles with Baltimore. So I think 40 is in play for him. So I'm fully on board. Baltimore is going to be a good team this year.
Yeah. And people are talking about old Lewis Robert going to the Mets, now having motivation. Can you imagine spending your whole career on the Angels and now you're on a team that actually has a positive outlook? Like, let's talk about that. Let's talk about the mental health clarity that Taylor Ward is going to have.
Oh my gosh. Just like what would ever happen if Mike Trout was able to get out of there?
He's a lost cause. I'm happy for Taylor Ward.
You're right. Let's not think about Mike Trout. Let's focus on Taylor Ward. But you're absolutely right. He's been with the Angels his whole career, and he's not a young man. I think he's every bit of 30. Joe says Ward might hit 45. He also says Olson hasn't hit over 250 in an even number year. Well, you know what? Thankfully, I'm not worried about his average as long as he can hit some homers.
Well, I'll just pretend that 26 is not an even number.
There we go. That's what we'll pretend. So
That
I see
seems not very predictive of a metric.
it's good analysis. I like the every other year analysis. It never fails. So I wanted to throw this out there. I'm looking at our guys here, and I see that Bobby Boucher has a 103 start. I Was Inverted has a 112 start. Your buddy Rip Sewell has 013. Joe's at a 022. You're at a 013. And I am at a 022. So for the most part, we are all very similar in our builds with pushing pitching. I Was Inverted and Boucher got the 2 studs. Joe just grabbed his 3rd infielder with Ben Rice. Oh, he went with, look at this. He's got a New York theme going at pick 1. Judge, Bellinger, Lindor, Jazz, and Ben Rice. I like that.
That's interesting. Yeah, pulling Bellinger up there to 24, getting Lindor in there too. Like, yeah, this is a unique team.
This is a very interesting, unique team. I like what you're doing, Joe.
We do have 2 people with starting 3 infielders and 1 outfielder.
Pick 2 has yet to take anything other than outfield.
So a couple interesting teams
coming back to you. So are you looking at continuing the stack or going away from it with this pick?
Yeah, I mean the next would be Josh Naylor at 69. Nice, but no, this is pretty simple. Manny Machado falls however many spots. I'm just like, talk about Mr. Consistent. Like, Manny Machado is a staple infielder for me year after year. Just, I mean, he likes to play the villain, but he's not the villain for his team.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. Manny is Mr. Consistent, and I'm right there with you. I've mixed him in on several of these that I've done in the stream so far because he feels like such a great round 5 pick here. So I'm right on board with you. Okay, now we've come back to me. And the way I'm looking at my pick here is I know I'm definitely for sure going to take Profar. Now, the question is, who am I going to take with him? So I could take Brian Wu or Logan Gilbert if I want to grab pitcher 1. Mm-hmm. I could take Butler, Altuve, or Trout just to add another outfield. I'm looking for any potential stack pieces. I really wish that Manny Machado could have fell to me with my top piece. That's all right. I'm not seeing any. There's no Tigers that I want here. I could go Michael Harris and take back-to-back. That I don't hate. So then I would have Harris, Profar, and Matt Olson. But I think I'm not gonna get fancy, and I'm just gonna take Trey Turner. And just again, I'm gonna go with the ADP fall for he's pretty darn steady as well. And unstacked, but that's all right.
Yeah, I feel like he kind of like I'm just gonna take Josh Naylor here to continue the Seattle stack, but
perfect.
I feel like Trey Turner like started out cold and kind of had negative press around him, and then just kind of was fine through most of the year, and it never really registered, I don't think, for people. I think the mentality around him is down further than it should be.
Mm-hmm. Oh gosh, I couldn't agree with you more. I have been taking Trey Turner at a discounted, what I think is a discounted price for most of the season. I'm actually in a draft champions right now, which is, as you know, a 15-team league, and I got Trey Turner in round 3, and I have pick 4, so I got him with the 4th pick of round 3, and in a 15-team roto. I mean, I felt that was an amazing fall because he's a lot of time, a second round pick pretty easily.
Yeah, the sprint speed is still there. It's like he's still going to steal bases even though he's 32. Like, just another guy like Manny Machado that doesn't like they don't right now. They don't do anything crazy, so they're just kind of I don't really like that term oatmeal, but I guess these guys are oatmeal at this point.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. But there's more upside there too for me. For me, they're not really oatmeal because they still have they still got that pop chart sweetness to them.
Right. But it's like looking at the outfielders here. It's not like taking a Kyle Stowers who was there. Like, oh, I'm looking on this like potential breakout guy type of thing.
By the way, so Joe just went away from his stack to go with Perdomo and Logan Gilbert. So he's at a 1-4-2. Me and you are at both at 0-3-3s. We've come back around to I was inverted. And does he have any stack pieces going? He has an Arizona thing going and an unstacked out. Oh, nope. Texas stacked outfield. Bobby Boucher has Riley and Acuna. All right. I was inverted, just went with Corey Seager to add to his Texas stack. All right. Let's see what your buddy here, Rip Sewell, is it. Let's see. He's got a Cubs thing going with Crow Armstrong and Ian Happ. Ooh, he just grabbed one of my favorite picks in Vinny P.
Vinny P over Bregman's continued the Cubs stack.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe Bregman would have been better there just for the Cubs thing, but overall, I'm a Vinny P boy.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right, coming back, you are up, sir.
I'm gonna keep being a little bit different here and not slam outfielder here. I'm gonna try to set up a few later outfielders and a little San Francisco stack.
You always like a little San Francisco stack.
I always
There's
do.
Nothing wrong with that.
I always do. Something about Matt Chapman just always gets me every year.
So we're coming back around here to me, and I don't have a pitcher yet. You still haven't taken a pitcher yet either. What I really want to do here is go back-to-back outfielder. That's what I'm going to fight the urge to do with this pick, because I don't think I need to. I like my three outfielders in Tatis, Riley, and Profar. I'm going to add Kwan. I've come around to Kwan. Kwan to me is an oatmeal
pick.
Sure. But I've come around to taking him. And now, man, this is a decent Bregman fall. Oh, this is tough. I know for sure the first one is going to be Kwan. I'm really leaning Bichette because I don't have hardly any Bichette, and I feel like this is a pretty good time to add him. But
he's a blind spot for me too.
Yeah, it's just both Bregman and Bichette are two guys that I generally don't take much of. I think that I'm going to feel better about my team if I go ahead and dip in and grab my first pitcher here. And I'm going to go with Jacob deGrom, someone who I'm just drafting, not afraid of re-injury, and just hope that he keeps another healthy season rolling. And if that happens, I think he's going to be right back up at the top 5-6 best pitchers.
Okay.
He's just down here because of course, we've seen 4 or 5 years of him be hurt and only back healthy for a year. So
yeah, Bregman is still falling. We'll see if these two people who don't have infielders. Okay, no, Scratch steals my Elliot Ramos, which
sure did.
I do not like that Scratch. Give me cat scratch fever with that pick. All right. We got to stay on brand here. William Contreras. We're going heavy infielder. This might get a little crazy just for the fun of it.
Hey, I love it though. I mean, because your infield is nasty. It's really good. I like mixing it up and going heavy infield every once in a while. I usually don't, but
yeah, I just got to go on. I'm on stream, so I got to go on the William Contreras brand and take him when he's available because I still think he's one of the best picks this year.
I was doing my 50 shares, my first 50 draft shares review. And whenever I was doing that, I was like, oh, I like to stack the Brewers. And then I went and looked and I'm like, oh, I don't have any Brewers stacks. I thought I did, but I didn't in the dinger. That's one thing that happens. You do 150 bullpens. I've been maxing out the bunts. And I thought that I had brewer stacks, but I didn't actually in the dinger. So it's something that I've been wanting to put a focus on. I've only in the 10 drafts since then, or 11, I've only been able to do it once or twice, but I'm getting there. I want to get some more brewers in my life.
Yeah, I'm not getting to the stack too much, to be honest, perfectly honest, and I'm not getting to a lot of Christian Yelich. I do not like the Yelich price this year. This is the first year I can ever say that. I just think that the age, the back, all the stuff, just where he's going is like I don't see the upside to where he's going right now compared to other guys where in that area. So it saddens me. And then going down further down the lineup, like I think Turang's fine, but after that, I think I don't know which guys get enough volume or really are stand out this year. It's kind of one of the problems with the Brewers. It seems like every year a different guy, or even not even in the year, like throughout the season, like there's a month where a certain guy's important to the team and he's hot. And the way that they build their lineup is like a bunch of kind of okay guys that just push, like they're always pushing the lineup through. They don't really have, the
better in real life than fantasy type of players.
Yeah.
So I get it. I think for me, because this is what I've done so far, I want to stack the Brewers when I get Jackson Chourio, which is not very often, because I'm just not finding myself clicking on Chourio a ton. But if he falls to me and I get him, that's where I want to focus. And at that point, I will take Yelich, because I agree with you from a volume standpoint. I wouldn't want to be overweight on Yelich, but I still want to draft Yelich because, yeah, he's at a high price. Even last year, Matthew, he was really, really good. So, it's just a matter of, like you said, age and injury, but production, he's still putting up great production on the field when he's out there.
Exactly. All right. All right. Waiting on pitcher has not been great. So let's just jump up some guys here and get kind of a youthful staff to start here. Let's start with Nolan McLean.
Oh, man, that's one of my favorite clicks to pick this year. I love Nolan McLean, so could not endorse that one anymore, my friend. By the way, I noticed that one of our buddies, Jason Woo Woo J Train, is in the chat. What's going on, Woo Woo J Train? Hope you're doing well tonight. All right, back to me. Man, I'll tell you some steam that's been happening is Mackenzie Gore coming up here to this point at here in the. I'm not saying it's wrong, but that's definitely some steam. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cue Sonny Gray for my first one, grab my pitcher 2, and then I don't want to get too far behind at outfield, and I'm a believer in Dylan Cruz.
Okay.
So I'm going to jump in and go Dylan Cruz. The risk is there because he obviously did not have a great rookie season, but man, I'm just choosing, from overall percent of the time, I want him to be between like a 10 to 15% guy. Like, I feel that's a good spot to land on Dylan Cruz for myself.
All right. I mean, you're going to have to sell me on him there, on Dylan Cruz, and I'm not.
So here's the main point with Dylan Cruz. So Dylan Cruz is extremely talented. Okay. So he didn't produce that well in his first get-go, but a lot of people don't produce that well in their first get-go in the majors, but he's locked and loaded to an everyday job. That's not in question. He's going to be hitting at the top of that order. It's a young lineup that is an upside lineup. James Wood, CJ Abrams, I could pull up and go on from there. They are a very upside lineup. So Dylan Cruz has the potential to score a lot of runs, get a lot of hits, and be on base a lot. So if he doesn't have 30 homers or 30 steals, but has 18 homers and 25 steals, but it comes with a 260, 270 average, there's going to be a lot of doubles and triples in the mix there. So, Dylan Cruz is one of the top overall talents, out there, period, in the outfield, athletically. So
Sure.
this is the reason why I want to have some shares of him. The negatives of him are pretty simple, right? You could say the team will be bad. The lineup will be bad. He didn't have a good rookie year. He doesn't have a ton of power. That's, to me, that's the negatives.
Yeah. So for me, I see a guy that is at best steamer projected for 100 WRC plus, and I don't understand why he's going here. It's not. That's pretty my simple analysis that he doesn't look like he's good in projections.
And see, this is I guess for me a big difference. I definitely like looking at projections, but I watch baseball all the time, and it can be good or a bad thing, right? Because when you watch these guys, you can get too overhyped on them. And I was overhyped on Dylan Cruz last year. This year, I'm dialing it back. But I'm still hyped. And again, part of that is just from being, I think, I'm going to go look up real quick. I want to know what my actual dinger exposure is at the moment, as we've talked about him this much. Let me see here. Dinger, because I don't feel like I've done it a ton. So I'm at 10%. So 10%, I think, is a pretty solid percent. And I'd like to be a little bit higher than that.
Sure. I'm taking Dalen Lyle all day over him.
I love Dalen Lyle. And I bet you I have a higher percent of him. I didn't say that name. That's part of the lineup there of like the young, sexy lineup. But I was super impressed with Dalen Lyle last year, big time. And I never even heard of him before he came up. So he came out of nowhere.
Yeah. Bobby, you got me on Chase Burns there. So that's where I was hoping to go with this next pick. Bobby Boucher got me.
All right. Well, you are one away, my friend. Here we go.
Right, so we're going to continue the youth movement at the pitching. We're going to take Cam Schlittler then.
I like it.
I did end up taking
guys.
I did end up taking Matt Chapman as my sixth and will be final infielder. So we're going to be distributing this not as normal as we would.
So based off your current start to your build sheet, 263, is your, I know this can change as we draft, but is your immediate thought and your projection for your build going to be an 866, or do you think a 767?
I think the way that this is going to be a 767. I can't say for sure. It depends on if I get the outfielders that I want here in these next couple of picks, because we've hit the precipice, or this, like, we want to talk about the outfield cliff. This is like when you're on the old Looney Tunes cartoons where he's out over the edge, but he hasn't realized that he's over the edge yet.
Right.
And he just hasn't looked down. So if you look down right now, you're falling off the outfield cliff.
So I left you a potential stack piece. Oh, which it didn't make it to you. Oh. And I did that so that I could grab Dalen Lyle, who we just mentioned, and I just had to take both of them on this team. And now I'm done at outfield.
Yeah, Lyle and Lee were my guys there. So yeah, this is going to be a 767 the way that this goes. We'll pull some weird outfielders out at the end here.
I'm looking forward to see who you pull.
It is not Ceden Rafaela. I am a never draft Ceden Rafaela kind of guy.
Me either. That's a fade completely for me. So same with this whole room, obviously.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go Sandy here, Alcantara. Grab a pitcher. I'm not taking Rafaela. I think Dominguez still needs to fall a little bit in ADP before I start buying back in.
So last year we had a conversation around Brandon Woodruff. You remember this? And I was saying how I'm not drafting him at all. I'm staying away. and you were making the case to go ahead and grab him for the playoff push. And he was really good when he came back, wasn't he? He was really good. So my question for you is, what are you do? You just passed on him there to go Sandy. What are you doing with Woodruff this year? Is he someone you're mixing in, or are you just passing? What's your thoughts?
No, I have right now in my 10 finished, I have 40% of Brandon Woodruff. So I just need to not take him because I don't want that much of him.
So you actively just chose to go a different direction because you've taken so much Woodruff.
Yeah. I think the risk profile is still huge on him. Like last year, I don't think I was actually recommending other people to take him too much, but I was. And I feel like I kind of got away with something because he kept getting re-injured for random things in his rehabs. And it's like he just wasn't coming back. And then he came back and he was just awesome. And then he got hurt, after it mattered.
Right.
He was still good in the playoffs. And then he got hurt again for the actual baseball playoffs, which was unfortunate. But
yes, it was.
Yeah. I think he's being over projected for starts and innings in projection systems. I expect some maybe even some phantom IL stuff to keep him healthy for the playoffs. Like if the Brewers are competitive, I think with the depth that they have at pitchers, that I think that they're going to be very hands off. And maybe I'm wrong because like it's the 1-year deal, where they don't really care about him going forward. But I just have this feeling that he's not going to get as many starts as, people drafting him are going to want.
Yep. I think that's a very good point. And overall, I could not agree with you more. I think that what it boils down to with Brandon Woodruff is what sort of risk are you willing to take on with your pitching staff? Because the way I look at guys like him, you should be able to draft a team that's good enough to finish first or second and get a ticket, regardless of what Brandon Woodruff does, or Carlos Rodon, or Shane McClanahan, or Garrett Cole. You know what I mean? If you want to own these guys, you should be able to draft a team to get first or second with them on it and them not contribute during the year. But if they are healthy and they are there to contribute in the playoff weeks, they could be driving factors of players who, if they miss a lot of time in the regular season, maybe a lot of the teams that drafted them didn't advance. And now you're in a pod where maybe you're the only Brandon Woodruff owner in your pod. You know what I mean? And he lines up for a 2-start week. So that's the way I look at guys like that. It's an upside play. Totally.
All right. So I guess you're on the clock. So I'll ask you after you make your picks here, but I got a question for you.
No problem. So what I'm looking at here is, do I want to go ahead and take 2 pitchers or 1? I'm for sure taking 1. I've got him starred already. It's one of my favorite pitchers to draft. It's Tetsuya Imai.
Okay.
I'm considering taking Tyler Glasnow because of the very reason of what I just said to you, where he could do not a whole lot, but still be really great for some playoff starts. But he probably won't have any 2-start weeks. That's the thing against him. I think I'm going to go ahead and grab another infield, and it's going to be Mooney or Story. Neither of them are stacked pieces. So I'm going to go with who I have less of, and that's Murakami. I think they're both pretty close, around like the 13 to 15% range. Both of them are guys that I like mixing in here in the later rounds at infield.
Okay. That's interesting. Ozuna going before ADP. All right. I'm going to take maybe my first share of Kerry Carpenter, but this is the profile we're going to start on this outfield. Getting behind, I'm going to go for some guys that have power back here, but might not play every day each week. So that's kind of where we're going for this plan. It might be a little more risky. Oh, but no, Connor Griffin went there. I'm not, and I don't want to talk like we could. I don't feel like there's too much more to say about Connor Griffin. Like,
right.
I think it's already over talked about. Either you're grabbing him or you're not, whatever. My question to you, as someone who is very deep in the weeds in baseball, is I feel like I'm going crazy, and I keep hearing people say that, oh, the Pirates look like they're trying, but they signed Ryan O'Hearn to, frankly, too big of a deal. They traded for Brandon Lau, who is always hurt, and who was the other guy? There's a third guy.
Well, from a hitting aspect, that's really it. They've almost got a couple people. Let me pull up real quick the Pirates. Let's see. Was there anyone else?
Jake Mangum.
Oh, yeah. They got him in a trade.
People including Jake Mangum into a conversation about how the Pirates are trying this year. I don't get it. I feel like I've gone off the deep end here.
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. So here's what it boils down to. There's been a lot of talk about it because I think that it's almost like a Pirates PR blitz, because they want they want this perception out there, because they want Skeens to they want to try to keep Skeens as long as they can. And then I think they're still thinking in their mind, oh, maybe we might be accidentally good, and then we can attract some people to us to then hopefully try to keep Skeens for the long run, because they've got him under control for another 3 or 4 years, something like that, before he inevitably, of course, will sign the biggest pitching contract of all time. Yeah. So with the Dodgers or the Yankees or the Mets, like that's what's going to happen here in 2030. So, but basically, you're right. They have not. It's fake. It's fake improvement, but they have enough already on their team, and at least they've done those couple trades, right? Really, O'Hearn's their only sign. Right. They got the Brandon Lau and the Jake Mangum in the same trade.
Right. Yeah. All right.
Yep, you're up.
Yep, Chase DeLauder. I don't know what to do with him. Just like reoccurring ankle injury, or not related to that injuries last year. He hasn't played more than like 70 games in any season. I have such a hard time getting to him, but then I keep forgetting that like Cleveland has nobody. This guy's locked in if he's healthy to play, and he's still got the prospect hype on him. So
that's it. He is locked in. He's 100% locked in to play. That's the biggest reason why to take him, because as long as he is healthy, he will be a starter. And the fact that they brought him up to play in the playoffs before, like make his major league debut in the playoffs, that says to me everything you need to know as far as what Cleveland thinks about him. Now, from a percent owned standpoint, I do think that it's probably quote unquote smart to not draft him, right? Because he has always been hurt. But I'm trying to tell myself this a lot, especially with Underdog.
Yeah.
And that is, don't draft in fear of injuries. If guys are currently hurt, that's one thing, right? Mm-hmm. It's one thing to avoid the injuries that they're dealing with right now. But with someone like DeLauder, he's healthy. Just because he's had injuries in the past, why should I not take him? Because his upside is so much higher than round 16, or 15 or whatever, if he does stay healthy. So just gamble this team that he does. And if he doesn't, and your team could still win. And even if it does ruin this team, well, most of our teams on Underdog aren't going to work. The majority of them won't,
All of them will.
I take it back. Every single one will get a ticket for all of us.
No, I'm saying only one person feels like their lineup worked.
Oh, yeah, that's the season.
Like, even if you get second place in the I think
you made a mistake.
You still feel like, oh, I didn't do the best I could. So
what could I have done differently? What decision did I make that could have won me that money?
Even if I won, I'd be like, oh no, I just got lucky. Because really, how much, once you get to the playoffs, there's so much luck.
Joe jumped on and said George Valera is penciled in at the 2-hole for Cleveland. That says enough right there. Yeah, DeLauder's going to play.
Yeah.
So TDK jumped on here and he said, draft Chase and get lucky. He also said, maybe we can be accidentally good. LOL sounds like my best strategy. The Pirates do have some really good pitching. Not their bullpen, but their starters. Their starters are phenomenal. If they can just have a competent bullpen, that's why I'm like, they could run into being a wild card team, even with the offense they have.
Yeah, I mean, look at the Reds last year in that same
deal. 100%. Okay, back to you. I like the Jack Leiter pick, by the way. We didn't talk about that, but I'm a fan of grabbing Jack Leiter. I've done that a handful of times so far.
That is something that you're gonna have Brad on next episode. That's something talking to him. He convinced me to get on the Jack because it was just a blind spot for me, and I didn't realize I was still remembering more of all the times he was out in the third inning last year, and he really did improve down the stretch.
Oh, big time!
Seemed like he figured something out, and I was weighing heavily that the early season production or lack thereof,
yeah. So I'm about to grab my first pick here with also someone that I've not taken hardly any of, but I want to start getting some more of, and that's Shane Smith. He was really good. By the way, former Brewers prospect, Shane Smith. And I mean, I've been staying away because it's White Sox, but man, the White Sox, again, they could run into some W's for him. So, and he's a pretty solid pitcher. I would like to grab Spencer Steer, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to go ahead and take someone who I like to draft, mix in, but not a ton. But I'm going to do it this time in Luke Keeschel. He's a good, solid player too. Also, maybe a bit of an injury risk, but he's healthy right now, and he's a good hitter, and he's locked and loaded for an everyday job. So that's a very similar S to the DeLauder, although I think DeLauder definitely has more power.
Yeah.
All right, coming back around, we are to pick 18. You were at a 6.65. Matt Wallner. Speaking of more power, baby, more power.
Yep. We're just looking for this power at the end here, or well, maybe not all power again. Might mix in another profile here, but I don't know. I took Sheehan. Everybody's glowing on Sheehan, and it seems like just by people are talking about the 6-man rotation, worried about that for the Dodgers, but with already news that
Snell, that
Snell's behind, like there's a chance that all these guys are just gonna have like ping-ponging IL stints, and Sheehan just stays locked in as the number 5, the whole season. And they don't have the 6-man rotation that they want.
Yep. And I completely agree. I think that the Dodgers 100% could roll with a 6-man all year, or that could be done in the first week of the season, and it never happens because 6-man rotations are hard to make happen. They sound good in principle, but like you said, things happen, people get hurt, and you need to have arms that you can depend on, and they've got enough of them, of young guys too, like Sheehan, that they're not going to baby his innings. You know what I mean? Like, they're not going to be like, oh, we're going to limit Sheehan to 100 innings. No, like, Sheehan's a full go. So I'm 100% on board with him. I brought him up back whenever I was drafting Gladiators with TDK, and we had Zach Waxman drafting with us, and we were talking to him, and I brought Sheehan up to Zach. And because I was saying the very same thing, like asking the question. One thing he said that I had not even thought of, and I get it's a speculation thing, but it's just interesting because I hadn't thought of it. And that is that if the Dodgers make a big trade at the trade deadline for like let's just say Scooble, right? For instance, who's going to be a free agent next year. Let's say the Tigers are out of it and they deal him in some massive deal. It could be with the Dodgers, and Sheehan would be one of those pieces that if the Dodgers made a big trade for someone like that. Anyway, it was a pure speculation thing, but I still enjoyed that thought of like, oh yeah, if you're worried about the 6-man rotation, well, what if Sheehan got traded and then you wouldn't have to worry about that? So I thought it was interesting.
Interesting, yeah. I prefer to ignore that person exists, so I'm gonna pretend like you didn't attribute that thought to him.
Hey, that's all right. So Duggar, he made a comment earlier. It says terrible name value. He was talking about my Shane Smith pick. Yeah, it's a boring name.
Okay. Let's get crazy. This is gonna be a 6-6-8 team.
Ooh, a 6-6-8. Look at you.
This is not Stacking Dinger's data approved team. This is not a team structure that is in the past a good one.
You have a very risky 6 pitchers, that's for sure. But I like your 6 pitchers.
I might change my mind before it comes to my next.
It's just with Nolan and Schlittler at the top, Evaldi and Sandy in the middle, and then closing with Leiter and Sheehan. I mean, I think a 7th more would probably be a little bit safer because your outfield's pretty darn good. Like with, the top of your top 3 is good. Yeah. Your bottom 4 are not bad. Oh, snap.
Oh, yeah, you're on the clock.
Let's go ahead. This is the first time that I have done this, and I'm going to grab Bryce Miller because I've been considering mixing him in. I'm going to go ahead and do it.
Okay. I'm back, baby. The Bryce Miller train has not stopped here.
The train has not stopped. I have mostly been out, but I'm jumping on board. And then speaking of jumping on board, I've done all of these drafts, hundreds of them so far, not drafted any of this guy except for in the most expensive one. I've drafted him in the Eliminator, and I'm going with Brendan Donovan, the new Seattle Mariner, back-to-back Mariners to close it out there.
Yeah, I did have him, penciled in till I, finished my infield at 6, but I did have him penciled in.
Okay, here's the decision. We going with the outfielder or the pitcher?
This is the man of the year for me. This is my 20th round pitcher of choice, Quinn Priester.
That's a good choice.
I think he leads the Brewers in starts and innings this year, and I think that you can't trust the projections on him because of the massive changes that he made when he came to the Brewers. I think if you're looking at projections and thinking about projections being based on previous stuff, averages over the years, basically, if you want to simplify it, with the most recent season being weighted the most, I think it's still weighting previous stuff because I think he just changed who he was when he had a team that could figure out how to use him. On top of the incredible defense behind him for a ground ball pitcher.
Yep, I could not agree with you more, my friend. And he's someone who I had not been drafting. And not long ago, I was drafting with you know how it's so easy to lose track of who you talk to about what. I was talking to someone on here with him not that long ago about Quinn Priester, and I'm like, you know what? There's a lot of late pitching names that I have primarily been avoiding, not because I'm actively avoiding them, but just simply because I'm not taking pitcher in the final round. So Priester is one of those names that I've been like, I need to start adding more of him because his innings are locked and loaded, and he is a good quality pitcher. And I wouldn't be surprised if, like you said, if he did end up being one of the better, if not the best pitchers on that Brewers staff. So I think that's a really sneaky good call out there. So that was a really fun draft. Had a great time with that. Thank you, everyone in the chat. That was sweet. Matthew, let me ask you this. Are you good to hang around and draft another, or are you needing to call it a night, my friend?
I need to take a bio break, but then, let's start another draft.
All right. Well, then
Let's
why
do
don't
it.
you go ahead and go take your
Well,
break.
we can get in. You know,
Oh,
the
you want to
first
go ahead
thing,
and get in
yeah,
first? Okay, I
yeah.
was going to say I could do like a little team review with guys, but well, let's do this. Does anyone in the chat want to tell us how many more before the lobby so we know if we can spin together? Anyone else who wants to jump in another draft? Let me know in the chat what we're looking at.
Yeah, we'll see if we can fill one here. I imagine we can. $10 more to start.
10 more. All right. Yep.
Yeah,
Let's go ahead. Let's do it.
All right. I will be back momentarily.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. So while Matthew is going, let's go ahead and look at some of our rosters. We'll start with Joe. So Joe from pick 1, he went with that Mets or the Yankees stack at the top with Lindor. So he went 7-7-6. Gilbert, Bradish, Yasavage, Rodon, Merrill Kelly, Joey Cantillo, and Will Warren. Like these late pitcher picks as well there, Joe. Lindor, Jazz, Rice, Perdomo, Hunter Goodman, Polanco, and McGonigal. Good McGonigal throw in there. Judge, Belly, Marcy, Doyle, Willier, and Stanton. Very solid, nice Yankees stack. Good draft, Joe. Let's go with I was inverted. I was inverted from pick 4, went with a 7-7-6. He's got Scooble, Yuri, Bubba, Bybee, Nola, Rogers, and Bieber. That's a good, solid pitching staff. I like the mix of upside with solidity, and then that flyer of Shane Bieber at the end, which I was looking at him. That's a good fall, 213. Ketel Marte, Corey Seager, Eugenio, Sal Stewart, Bryson Stott, Royce Lewis, and Aiden Miller. Here's a nice little interesting call out of Aiden Miller, which I don't know if I've seen him go. Obviously, I've seen McGonigal and JJ Weatherhold and Connor Griffin, but I don't know that I've seen Aiden Miller go. This might be my first time. So I like that pick there. And then a good solid outfield with Carroll, Langford, Nimmo, Michael Harris, Adolis, and Friedel. Good team. I was inverted. Next up, Bobby Boucher. We are at 4 more to start, by the way. So Bobby went with a 6-7-7, and he's got strong pitchers at the top. Actually, strong pitchers all the way through. Look at those 6. No wonder you stopped at 6. Crochet, Hunter Green, George Kirby, Chase Burns, Luis Castillo, and Suarez. You only have the one really swing for the fences young guy there with Burns, and then you know who everyone else is. These are dependable innings. This is a stud, Hunter Green, as long as he's healthy. Kirby and Crochet should be just completely dependable innings. You got Austin Riley, CJ Abrams, Bryce Terang, Story, Baldwin, Tovar, and Andrew Vaughn. I don't love Andrew Vaughn, but I don't hate it. Acuna, Wood, Yelich, Trout, Soler, Mickey Moniak, and Josh Lowe. I see what Andrew Vaughn was. He was your third piece for a little Brewers trio. You've got the trio of Angels. I see what you've done here with this little trio and duo combination. 3 Braves. Very, very good team. Good job, Bobby Boucher. I like that stacking. Matthew's buddy, Rip Sewell. Let's see what you did. Went with 7-6-7. We're at 1 more to start, by the way. Hunter Brown, Framber, Blake Snell, Baz, Kikuchi, Mitch Keller, and Jose Soriano. Very solid pitching staff. There's not, I mean, obviously you waited on some of these guys, but these are all known commodities. Baz has some untapped upside. I really like this pitching staff. You went with 6 infield. Bobby Witt. Oh, look at that KC stack there. Bobby Witt, Vinny P, and Miguel Garcia. That's perfect. Westberg, Jacob Wilson, Brandon Lowe, Churio, Pete Crow, Hap, Reynolds, Cowser, Dominguez, and Jordan Walker. This is not your first draft, Rip Sewell. I very much like that 7-6-7. All right. Next, let's check out Dark Sheeps. So he went with also a 7-6-7. As we talked about, waited on pitcher to 104 and got my boy Nolan McLean, along with Cam Schlittler. So starting double young stud New York pitchers with Alcantara, Eovaldi, and Leiter, a double Texas thing. I didn't notice that earlier. Sheehan and Quinn Priester. So I'm glad you went with that 7th pitcher of Priester. I definitely think that was better for this team, Matthew. And then Gunnar, Machado, Naylor, Willie Adames, William Contreras, Matt Chapman. And then Julio, Randy, Taylor Ward, Kerry Carpenter, Chase DeLauder, Matt Wallner, and Evan Carter. Good job, Dark Sheep. And then finally, we'll look at my team. The next draft has started. Oh, I see. I got the 1. Sheep got the 2. I was inverted, got the 3. Oh, boy. Bobby Boucher, the 6. Who else we got in here? Duggar with the 12. So me and Duggar with the bookends. Anybody else in the chat who's in here, let me know. And then finally with this team, I went with a 7-7-6. DeGrom, Sonny, Robbie Ray, Tetsuya Imai, Shota Monica, and then Shane Smith and Bryce Miller. This is a risky pitching staff that I don't love. Vlad, Olson, Trey Turner, good start there, but then Murakami, Glaber, Keuchel, and Donovan. Tatis, Riley Green, Profar, Quan, Cruz, and Lyle. I honestly don't love this team. This is not one of my favorite builds. It's all right. It was interesting, but I don't love it. All right. Matthew, you are back.
I'm back,
right.
And you're on the clock. Hopefully you
I've got it starred. And I guess I didn't really need to star considering I would have just got the first pick anyway, but
all right. Yeah, we'll take Judge. Yeah, you want to get the other draft up on the screen?
Oh, good call. Yep, I see Skins Over Birds in the chat. I noticed he was in that last one too. Skins Over Birds at pick 2. I'll do just a quick run through here, my friend, of your team. Ooh, you got an early Weatherhold at 191, but you made sure you got him. Okay, here's that second KC stack. Yeah, he went with Salvi, Carter, Jensen, and Cags. Ooh, I like that. Back end weight KC stack. Very
the Carter is a ball knower pick right there.
Carter Jensen?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just to even consider them in best ball.
Yeah, because I was talking about this not long ago too. I drafted Carter Jensen quite a bit for my Gladiators, but I've not drafted him one single time here on Underdog. And whenever I see people take him, I think to myself, man, I need to mix Carter Jensen in too.
It's funny how that works. And you never remember. It's the same guys. You're like, oh, yeah, I wanted to take them more.
It is. It so is. All right. Okay. Well, we are now locked and loaded in for the second draft. I'm pumped here. Let's see how this one turns out. How about us getting the back-to-back 1-2? That's something.
I know. It's not really great for conversing about our teams. We're going to have these big empty things. You know, these are the things I think about as a person who hosts a lot of stuff. It's like I'm thinking about the content at the same time as the draft.
Hey, that's all right. We got down at the other end, we got my guy Duggar who went with Ellie and Devers and back-to-back there. So that's the classic go with the chalk Ellie Devers at the turn, but it's still hard to say anything bad about Ellie Devers. It is chalk, but man, those are two really good picks.
Yeah.
And then honestly, the first round went pretty standard. We didn't have anything kind of outside of the normal in the first round. So far, second round is going the same. We still don't have I guess I won't say it out loud of someone who's not off the board yet, but I noticed that Brent Rooker went at the 2-2 in this one. So he's still at the top of the second round, but second round and not first. Matthew.
Yes.
How was drafting on DraftKings the other day for your stream? Did you enjoy it? Are you going to do more drafting over there on DraftKings, or do you prefer to stick here on Underdog? What was your thought after doing that?
So I like it fine. I think the rooms are softer. It's the same stuff. The rooms are softer. The interface is worse. My biggest problem with DraftKings this year Aaron Judge and Nick Kurtz. Let's put those two guys together.
Oh, that was the name I was going to say. He hasn't gone yet.
Let's put those two guys together and get a lot of home runs on this team.
All right. And I'm going to go ahead and do something I've done once, but I'm going to do it again. And this also, this is not stacking dingers approved, but we're doing it. We're going with Skeens and Crochet back to back. And then now I'm going to go a 6-pitcher build almost for sure. And so it allows me to know in my mind as I draft, okay, I can free up pitcher for a while, go with a 6-7-7 build, mix in some of these later in outfield guys that I don't normally take.
All right, I'm going to take Wyatt Langford because I want to have a Texas conversation with you.
Well, first off, amazing pick. Your Judge Kurtz Langford, that is upside city, my friend. I love that trio to start. Boy, Texas has been a disappointment the last 2 years, have they not?
Well, last year, right? Didn't they just win? Was that 2
No.
years? No, 3 years.
No, that was
That's
3 years ago now.
Yeah, I'm gonna cram the 2 Dodger wins together.
I know. So the thing with Texas is they are worse, right? Like they are worse, but they have some real, I mean, with Wyatt at the top, they have some really interesting pieces and they have great pitching. So it's just their lineup is not great. That's my only thing is they're not a great team. I don't love to stack them, but you can find a few pieces, right? You know, Nemo's fine. You could grab a late Jake Burger. You can add Seager in there if you want. There's a few other pieces you could throw in along the way. You drafted Evan Carter last time.
Yeah.
So I don't hate it, but I don't love it. What do you feel about him?
So I posted this just the other day over in the Stacking Dingers Discord and said, you know, kind of trying to get the read of the room because looking at the lineup, it doesn't look better than last year. I think you said that. And I can go up and down the lineup and poke a hole in every single person, right? There's not one guy on this lineup that I can't poke a hole in. You might say Wyatt Langford, but I still
Langford's the only one that's even close to that. But you're right.
Yeah, but I've seen this this style of player maybe I'm projecting too much Tyler O'Neill onto him because he's not quite as beefy as Tyler O'Neill, but
no.
We've seen already small soft tissue stuff with Wyatt Langford, and it worries me in that his body style fits with past players that have had reoccurring issues in the same manner. So that's my hole to poke in Wyatt Langford is I worry about how he holds up playing baseball, but Brandon Nimmo he's like that trade just is. I'm still
wasn't that weird?
That trade.
I know it was so weird. That was such a weird trade. I didn't. It came out of nowhere for everyone.
If you believe the rumors, it seems like the culture. Semyon was not fitting in with Corey Seager, so it was one of the two. And if I'm looking at upside, I'm keeping Corey Seager on my team.
And Jeff McNeil. They wanted to get him out. They wanted to replace him with a second baseman. Simeon's elite at defense. He probably has, I don't know this, but I bet he's got a history with some guys they already had. So, yeah, I completely agree. It was out of nowhere, but I think that it makes sense. Those rumors are true. It makes sense that they're true.
Yeah.
With that said, though, right now on roster resource, take it for what it is, but Jock Peterson is currently their cleanup hitter. So I think that pretty much says what we need to say about the Rangers.
Yeah. But I think they're like the wraparound after, poking all the holes is I think they have one of the biggest range of outcomes as an offense in general. If the health things stick together right, most of the players it's health. Jake Burger, Evan Carter, Josh Young are all three guys that we all want to project on and look like they still all have upside potential. And then there's, the health, the Nimmo, the Seager. I mean, I guess Carter and Jung fit into health too. So, but I think there's so much upside here that it's hard to completely avoid. And then you layer on the fact that park has just been so pitcher friendly that I mean, I don't know. It's hard for me to stack Texas. I guess is the final conclusion that I've got.
Final conclusion. Yep. So I don't know if you did this or not, but do you know how much you just broke my heart?
he fell 10 picks. He fell 10 picks.
Brandon Nimmo was sitting right in your lap.
I was just telling you how I just went 15 minutes on how I didn't like the Texas stack, and I
know. But the skins over birds just pointed it out. But I was sitting waiting for the moment to say, because I went ahead and took Teoscar, but I was thinking, oh my gosh, I'm about to get Freeman in bets.
You weren't even listening to anything that I was saying. You were just staring at those guys.
That was it. Just stewing. Oh no, but seriously, that was so close. I've only had that happen one time so far, where I've been able to get the bets in Freeman with Ohtani at the 4-5 swing. But you made the right choice. You made the right choice going with Freddie Freeman. That was smart.
Yeah, you did have Teoscar there. What's your Teoscar outlook for this season?
It's not great. Okay. I don't love him. I only ever draft him only on stacks with Shohei. That's it. And I don't do it even that often. It's if I don't have this pulled up, if I had my spreadsheet tool that I was using on my share review, which is available on the Discord of the Bubba and Bloom Discord that Reducing Juice put on there, that particular sheet, I could look up and see how many times I've taken Teoscar and paired him with Ohtani versus just Teoscar on his own. And I bet you all of my Teoscars are with Ohtani. And it's probably 5 or 7%. It's not much.
I guess I would say in that case, if it's not too much, but I think an important thing to talk about, especially for people maybe newer to the format or whatever, is that if you're doing that with a guy that you don't have a good outlook on, you might just be shooting yourself in the foot, because now all of your Ohtani teams have Teoscar Hernandez. You want to avoid that. Like, good, it's good to get the correlation, but if you think there's a huge downside, you might just be putting a hole in every one of your Ohtani lineups if you're always doing it.
You are 100% right. And you know what? I wonder. I'm not going to try and do it while we're doing this. It's too much work. I was going to try to go pull it up and try to find out now. I'm not going to while we're drafting. But here's my point, is that what you just said is great advice. And I am following that advice. I do not have Teoscar on a high percent of my Shohei teams, because remember, I'm getting Shohei a lot. So the majority of my Shohei teams, I'm not. It's actually very irresponsible to force stacks where you're taking someone you like less just because they're a teammate. I prefer to still take the player who I like the best. And that's how I will build the majority of my lineups. But we're having fun. We're stacking. You got you some Corey Seager, the former Dodger, the Ranger to stack with Violet Langford.
Right.
Let's be honest. Like, that's the one to do it with. And then now I got to decide, what do I want to do from here? One thing I know for sure is I'm going to grab Vinny P on this one. And I'm taking an outfielder. So my question for myself is, do I want to go with Stowers, Michael Harris, or potentially someone like Lou Bob if I go down a little bit? I think for me, I'm going to go with Stowers. I was really impressed with him last year, and I could be wrong, but I don't have a ton. and I like his power, just flat out. I like his power more than Michael Harris. You went ahead and grabbed Michael Harris. I think Michael Harris is a good pick, but
yeah, I was going to take either one of those two guys that you left me.
if let's say I left them both for you, what would you have done if I took someone else? If I took Joe Adell and you had the choice, would you have taken Stowers or Harris?
I'm glad you didn't make me choose. Harris is my usual, but that's because I like Brave stacks more than Miami stacks. But I don't know. I think I would have gone Stowers and just continued the upside theme of this lineup or this draft so far.
Mm-hmm. That's definitely the upside is there. Real quick, I wanted to jump in here and say, Terrence Charles in the chat says, why be down on Teoscar? He should have a ton of RBI opportunities. That offense should be an order of magnitude above the rest, excluding potentially Baltimore if it clicks. And it's a great point. I think the reason why I'm down on Teoscar a little is just simply because Teoscar is getting that much older. I want to say he is 33 now, which I know is not
You're right.
super old. Was that right as far
That's
as
correct.
age? And then his homers and RBIs have been dipping at least a little bit last year. And I don't know. I just don't feel, I guess it's a feel thing, right? I just don't feel that where Teoscar's being drafted. Like, for instance, let me go back up here. Here's who I took Teoscar over. Ian Happ, Brandon Nimmo. Well, really, I'll just stop right there. Ian Happ and Brandon Nimmo, I feel, are much safer as far as their floor. Maybe even Altuve, who was right mixed in there as well. Teoscar's ceiling might be maybe higher. I don't know. It's just a risk reward thing. And from every number of teams that I have of Shohei, I want to have some Teoscar. But again, I'm just not taking Teoscar much versus these other guys. It's always who is it going versus for me. If Teoscar was going later, I would have more of him.
Yeah, see, I'm the opposite. I'm still taking Teoscar. I think his demise is being reported too soon because, like,
well, it's not demise. Okay, I'm not saying it's demise, but
yeah, like he cut the strikeouts last year. The results weren't great. He had a 283 BABIP, so he's due for some regression there. The slug is still good. Like, I don't know. And in the lineup, yeah, I'm taking him even by himself too. I'm still in, and I think the Dodgers are the sort of team that likes to play their veterans, even when they're struggling. So I don't know how much you're into Andy Pies at this page, and I might be sniping you again here, but I'm going to continue my little Dodgers grouping with him.
You are not. I like him even less than Teoscar. So
okay.
Here's the thing. I could be 100% wrong on my kind of. I'm definitely staying away from Andy Paez. Again, I'm not staying away from Teoscar. I'm just not focusing on Teoscar. But I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Boy, what I really wanted here, I did not get. I really wanted Jack Caglione.
Oh, with Vinny P. Yeah.
Yep. I was really hoping that is outfield 4 here. I have a 2-3-3. I should force myself to take another outfield here, but I'm not. I'm going to take Max Fried. I don't take Max Fried very often, and this feels like a good fall. And I'm going with a 3-3-3. Threes across the board. Triples wild.
Triples are best.
Triples are best.
All right. I'm going to grab Framber as my first pitcher. I like Kirby, Ryan, Bradish, fine here, even some Pavetta. But one of those axioms that are always true is that free agents are going to shoot up once they get signed. Yep. I have not been doing a good job getting good value on Framber this season so far, and I need to do a little more of that before he signs. And it doesn't seem like he's going to sign soon. I don't know.
I know that it's getting a little scary, but great point, Sheep. I'm the same boat as you. I need to force myself to do what you just did, because as soon as he signs, let's say he signs with Baltimore tomorrow, he's gonna go up in price. So I'm right with you. I need to start getting him onto some more teams, because I have traditionally been a big Framber guy in the past, and this year I'm just not taking him.
Right. I guess let's dive into this more. Like where is the point that you're worried about, the start of his season? Like, how far into spring training does,
Man, what happened a few years ago with Blake Snell?
Right.
Whenever that it was Snell and Jordan Montgomery, right? Wasn't it those two that went super late? And Jordan Montgomery sucked and got hurt. Blake Snell sucked and got hurt. So I think that really, it's probably like mid-March, right? Maybe a month from now. Even the beginning of March is nervous. Like I sure hope he signs this month. And if he signs with San Fran, that would be amazing. I think for him, I mean, him and Logan Webb together, that's a lefty righty combo of like almost the exact same guy that I think would be really interesting. But I don't know. I would be nervous if he a month from now is still a free agent. And if that's the case, his price is going to dip even more.
That's true. And I'm not a sports psychologist or even any type of psychologist, but
you play one on TV.
But I have to talk about these people online, and I read too much about random baseball players. If you dig into Framber Valdez, there was an article a few years ago that basically said he needed to see a sports psychologist to figure out how to not get tilted in games. Like, he was getting tilted in games. I mean, even last year we saw him, the whole throw at his catcher thing. Like,
because he was tilted, because he was mad, because he had just gave up a homer and thought it was the catcher's fault. And
right. So like, layer that on top of the normal worries about a guy starting spring late is like, it multiplies for him. So it's certainly, it is a bit scary.
You're talking now more the reasons why to stay away from him, but I get it though. Seriously, this is all great points, and it is why I don't have much of. But this is draft number 61 for me. I need to start having at least a few of him, because I think I probably have 1 or 0 so far in the dinger. Who'd you just grab? I missed it.
Chase Burns. I missed him last time. I wanted to grab him this time.
All right. So this draft right now, I think I'm going to go with someone that in my mind I view as a sheep boy.
Ooh.
And that is TJ Friedl.
Okay.
Because
I don't know if I want my name attributed to TJ Friedl, but okay.
Well, I was drafting with Billy the other night, and he took him, and I was like, oh, the Stacking Dinger special. And that's just because I've seen like 3 drafts with you, or maybe it was your shares or whatever your thing with. But anyway, I've heard you either draft or talk about Friedl multiple times, so I've associated him in my mind with you. But
yeah, I think it's just because he's an outfielder going there.
Because he's an outfielder going here. It's my first time that I've taken him, and this is why I did it, was just to bring up and talk to you, just to see. So for you don't have a specific reason, like you're for him. He's just a guy that you generally like.
It just kind of happened.
Just kind of happens. Yeah.
It's totally by accident, to be perfectly honest. Some of it is setting up some Sal Stewart stuff later that I wanted. But I mean, you pull up his projections and you're not very happy taking him at this price. Like, and you can't really imagine upside on him, like compared to like Brenton Doyle, who just went there, or Dalton Varsho. I think he's a fine pick when you're comparing to Trent Grisham, but yeah, or even Colton Cowser, who our guy Terrence there in the chat is on his list of his guys this year.
Sure is.
That
you're saying all these reasons why this is my first time I've drafted him. So I was wondering, I was kind of hoping to hear you sell me on TJ Friedel, but I'm still glad that I made the pick because I like TJ Friedel in real life. He seems like one of these guys. Again, I don't want to live in fear of injury, but it seems like he's always hurt. He was healthy last year, but in my mind, TJ Friedel's always hurt. And so that's why I kind of have this bias, like not a huge power, not a huge speed. But if you look at his points, though, he does score pretty decent points for this because he does, at least last year he did because he stayed healthy. And earlier, Duggar asked a question for you, and he said, do you exclusively chase stacks or let them happen naturally?
I guess I don't really know how to think of that question because I'm always stacking. I wouldn't say that I chase them, and I wouldn't say that I let them happen. Like, I wouldn't say that either because I am making them happen, but I won't like
overreach like we talked earlier with overreaching for your stack. Yeah.
But even then, sometimes I might do that. So yeah, I'll just say that I'm always stacking. And actually, something I've tried, I have to force myself not to stack. Like, it's just so natural of a thing. So a couple of slow drafts, I labeled them in the thing like don't stack, just to do it. So when I go back and I go look at that team, like, okay, don't look at the next stack piece.
Yes, like, anti-stack. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So I got a follow-up question on that for you. Real quick before I do this, I wanted to just say, because I was reading Terrence Charles I say his quote here, his comment here. My guys are Snell, Santander, Walker, Ozuna, Cowser, and Sale. That's a very interesting list, Terrence Charles.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming with the Walker, you're talking about Christian Walker, but I'm just wondering, are you talking about Jordan Walker? Just wondering on that. Chris Sale has been a big one for me that I have been going on almost exclusively. This back to real quick what I was about to ask you as our picks are coming up here. So do you think that the majority of people that draft on here on Underdog are looking to stack, or do you think that the majority of people unstack and it's just more of the crazies like us that are on here that stack all the time? What do you think the general drafter is looking?
I think that it's probably about 50-50. I've not done any research. This is just my gut call. I think it's about 50-50 in terms of people that are tuned in to the content, the strategies that, that are stacking. And I think 50% of people are just out there picking the best guy because they're not quite as tuned in to things.
So, yeah, so 50-50, that's a good answer. I mean, so let's see. Christian, of course. Jordan Walker is too tall and swing is too long. Yeah, I figured Christian, of course. But Jordan Walker went to Driveline. Not sure if you knew that or not, but if you didn't know, now you know.
No, I do want to shout out Terrence because he's been in the community and for years, and I think every year he brings a unique perspective, and I love to hear what he's doing because I think he's the opposite of what I just talked about. He's a guy that's tuned in, but he's doing his own thing all the time. So I love to hear what he's thinking each year because he's in there in stream chats, and he's over in the Badge Bros. He's in those conversations. He's on the sheep seat. So He's an awesome guy.
That's great. Well, Terrence, it's great to have you here over at Draft Addicts. I really love your Chris Sale in particular. I just want to say the call out on Sale. He's been like my number one drafted pitcher this entire time because I felt he's so mispriced. I mean, Chris Sale almost this entire draft season has been going in round 7. And I just think that's crazy. Sometimes you get him in 8. I mean, he's just so good when he's healthy, and he's healthy. So again, why draft or live in fear? He's healthy. Like, I mean, I'm not going to be afraid of Chris Sale. I'm just going to do it. And then
hopefully he's not getting any bicycle accidents.
Ozuna's the only one I've got a 0 share of. And I have thought about that of like, the same thing with you were saying with the free agent who as soon as he signs will shoot up. If Marcell Ozuna signs with a good spot, I mean, honestly, just wherever he signs, period. Right now, what I'm afraid of is that we've reached this point with Marcell Ozuna where I call it the Nelson Cruz cliff, older DH who's just been good year after year after year after year. But then all of a sudden it just falls off.
Yeah. So
I hope that's not the case because I really would like to see Marcell come back. And with that being the case, I'm going to make a little note here. I need to maybe get some Ozuna in my life. Who was the other one earlier I was talking about? Framber. So those two guys I have drafted 0 or close to 0 of in the dinger. And I don't need to be I'm doing 150. I need to have a couple teams with them on it. They're definitely good enough for that.
Yeah. Bobby says, and Carter Jensen.
And Carter Jensen.
He was the guy.
Yep. Make a note of him.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think with Eugenio Suarez signing, I think that will lead into whether teams want Marcell Ozuna or not. I think, I feel like people are maybe overblowing the retirement thing on it. Like teams don't want him with his, the past troubles that he's had. Teams might be out on him for that same, like the teams know about the cliff, like bringing the PR risk on top of the cliff risk. Like, but I think he was just good enough last year that somebody's going to want him.
Well, he was amazing the 2 years prior, right. 23 and 24. He was 40, 100 both those years with great batting average, So I personally, I know it's not going to happen, but I just think it would be fun if he went back to Miami. Like I would actually really like to see him just sign with Miami where he started his career and finish his career there. And they could use that DH and that would help their lineup. So
yeah,
I don't know. That's just me. I'm kind of nostalgic. Like I would like if Paul Goldschmidt went and re-signed with the Diamondbacks and played his final season there and played with Arenado so that he got to close his career with Arenado and with the Diamondbacks. And the Diamondbacks could use Goldie as like a first base DH part in, but I there's no rumor of that, but I would love to see that.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe you missed, they signed Carlos Santana.
I did miss that. Was that today?
They signed Carlos Santana for like $2 million or something for a year. So I think they have their Pavin Smith platoon partner.
Yep, I did 100% miss that.
But if you want to tell me a story oh, sorry.
But wouldn't it have been fun? Wouldn't it have been fun if Goldschmidt signed there? That would have been fun.
Yes. I have this weird connection, like totally manufactured connection to Paul Goldschmidt because he's like a month different than my age. Like we're like our birthdays are like 1 month apart. So he's like always my like signal of like, okay, this is the baseball player that is my age. Like, how do I think about my age in terms of this? Just because, it's hilarious how we're talking about cliffs on like 33-year-olds. And at this point, Paul Goldschmidt is 38 and like
He's almost 40. I was gonna say he's almost 40. And how
Whoa,
old
whoa!
is Ozuna?
I'm not
He's
almost.
getting up there.
I'm not almost 40, Spencer. I'm 38.
Hey, you're right. You're a young pup. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, sheep. I didn't mean to rush you, my friend. I'm old bastard. Let me tell you, I'm 42. I'm just decrepit. So I didn't say this. I love the Edward Cabrera, by the way. I'm all aboard the Edward Cabrera train. And in the chat, Bobby Boucher says that Christian Walker pick was for you, Terrence. Love it. Bobby Boucher is on it. And he paired him with Isaac Paredes. Look at that. Isaac Paredes. But yeah, Ozuna is not as old as I thought. Ozuna is going to be 35. I was thinking Ozuna was more like 38, like Goldschmidt's age, but he's not. He's going to be 35. And Cruz didn't have that Nelson Cruz cliff until he was 40. You know,
yeah. Which Carlos Santana also 40.
Yes, Carlos Santana too. Carlos Santana is a good defensive first baseman.
Right.
That's where he keeps staying out there. He's he still has a good eye, still walks, and he's just 2 years ago he won a Gold Glove. Bobby Boucher and Terrence both big in on Edward Cabrera. I love it. Earlier, speaking of in my DC, let me go see if it's on my pick. Nope. But earlier in round, let me see which. I took Edward Cabrera in round 13 of my DC as my pitcher 7, and I could not have loved that more. I was super pumped to get him there. This is a question for you that I think I know the answer, but I'm just wondering, what do you play outside of best ball? So do you ever play NFBC? Do you have home leagues? Like, what's your fantasy life outside of best ball drafts?
So I had a home league 1 year. It was an existing league at work when I started. And I will just say that after I played, I never got paid and they never ran the league again.
So done.
I don't think they knew what they were getting into when I joined that league. But
that's the classic. Now you're all in big trouble.
But it was funny. I mean, I didn't realize because I had never really played a casual or that sort of league before. It was like a daily league. All right, I'll take a fall on Will Smith for my Dodgers stack. Yeah, I didn't realize like all the rules around it, and like at some point I was like making daily moves, and it was like someone was like, "Hey, like after 25 moves, you got to pay $1 per move or something." I don't remember the number. I was like, "Oh, really?" But yeah. So that was my one attempt at a home league. I was really excited because it was an NL only auction, which is not a super popular format.
No, but it's fun. I haven't done it in years.
But
I haven't done AL and NL only, but it's really fun.
Being that it was mostly Cubs and Brewers fans, it just made sense because people knew the most teams or the most players on the NL side.
Right.
But yeah, so that I would like to have local people to talk baseball with, but obviously because I never had that, I started stacking dingers in the sheep seats and all that. So
yep, now you got all of us.
Now I got the internet.
You've got me and the rest of the friends in the chat and your internet buddies. That's right. I love it though. And if you wanted, you have enough guys, with myself included, that if you wanted to have a separate home league with a bunch of guys, you could get that together.
I feel like the core factor of a home league is that you can talk shit in person.
It is. And Duggar, who's at pick 12 Space Raisin, he's one of my longtime buddies. He's been on the show with me, and he is king of draft day. Like drunken draft day Duggar that is his what he lives for. Ain't that right, Duggar?
Right. So internet home league does not count in my mind.
I know, it really doesn't.
Even if like
You're
the
right.
people, like, I'm jealous of these people that talk about how like, oh, every year for football everybody gets back in for the draft, even the people that are maybe moved on in life. Like, I'm jealous of that. That's what I would want if I'm thinking home league, because it continued the answer. Like, the other thing I want is to play against the best people. So I do play on an FBC too, because I think, you know, iron sharpens iron, as they like to say. And I think last year I had kind of good results playing pretty minimally over there. And last year was like a whole new, I don't know. I did very bad. Let's say that. So my plan was to dial back my play over there, kind of regroup. But somehow my friend Rip Sewell in the previous draft has convinced me to split 2 main events with him this year. So,
oh boy, ooh, someone's doing some investing, and I don't mean money, I mean time, my friend.
Right.
You do 2 main events. You are investing your time during the season, but you got a partner, and that's huge. That's awesome. If you are doing main events or leagues with fabs where you have, and that's a big part of that, as I'm sure you know, is you've got to stay up all year with making pickups. It's not just setting your lineup. It's making good decisions on who to bid, what to bid on, who, when, and where. Those are key to winning those leagues. All the best main event players are on it. But as I'm sure you also know this, some of the best main event players are part of teams, are part of duos where people have a partner. So you and your buddy doing that together, I think that's awesome. I love to hear it.
Yeah, we did one last year, and we got to maybe a month and a half in, and all my teams were doing poorly, including that one. And it was just like, it was easier for my mental load just to drop, just stop caring about it, which I don't want to do this year. But it's not, I don't know how this happened, because I was going to fall back on my play over there, but he's a very he's a convincing guy, and he's like, I'll do one as a practice. I was like, no, if you're gonna do 2, we're gonna do 2 together. That way we get the our strategy ironed out in one to the other. But and then we can review what we did last year, and we took on too much injury risk last year. I think overall, on an NFBC and Underdog, I had too much like Cole Reagan's, Spencer Strider combos that both of them failed, and that, not so much injury, but bounce back from injury for Strider.
Right.
I was seeing the upside on both of those guys a little too much, and especially over there on a 15-team draft like that, I think you need a little bit more safety, and especially in some of those early pitcher picks.
Yep. And with Spencer Strider or Cole Reagan's this year, I'm more in on Reagan's than Strider, but I get in the past being in on both of them last year why you did it. I didn't feel a year ago at this time like Strider and Reagan's were super, super risky. Obviously there was some, but I would have endorsed it. So hey, that's what happens. You live and learn. And this year you make changes and you try to be a little bit more dependable with your picks, right?
Yeah.
So we're coming here. By the way, I'm sticking to my guns with the 677, I believe.
Yeah.
But before I make that final decision, I'm going to go ahead and do something here that this is another guy that I don't hardly ever take, but I want to grab just in case he does have a bounce back, and this is a nice late spot for Adley. I really don't, like I said, I really don't draft Adley hardly at all. But as a result, I'm putting him on this team with Friedel. One thing I like to do when I take people, this is kind of a little strategy point. When I take people that I don't draft very much of, like I have someone starred, by the way, like Adley and like TJ Friedel or like Stowers or Teoscar, I like to mix them in with guys that I do take a lot of. That way, I take some of my more popular plays, mix them in with guys that I don't take much of, and I just think that's a good way to fit together. Back to you, my friend. Oh, nope, you snap picked that right after I took. Oh, you grabbed another Evan Carter.
Yes, and I will say I think we just saw my first 2 Evan Carter picks of the season. I've been a big Evan Carter detractor between the back and the platoon, and I think this year at this price, I'm ready to buy back in. I'm and like I said, looking at that team as a whole, even if they are going to platoon him, there's so much injury risk around him that, like, I don't know how long that lasts. They might give him more opportunities. And yeah, it's a recent turnaround for me, Evan Carter. So I wanted to grab him twice here, and especially on this team when I had Seager and Langford.
This is the team to really do it on, right? And Terrence says he doesn't like Reagans. He strikes out a lot of guys, but he doesn't finish well. He looks at Reagans as an off-brand Snell, which is paradoxically more expensive, and it's very, very true. It's a great point, and I will say my drafting agrees with you. This is why I have so much more Sale, because he goes later than that. And I think he's just a better pick. Same with DeGrom. Those are just 2 examples, right? There are plenty of more. But it's why I don't get a lot of Reagans. But I definitely recognize Reagan's elite upside potential if everything fell together. But overall, that's a small percent of the time, and it's not a good gamble to make very often. Every once in a while, I'll gamble on him staying healthy and him crushing, but it's a great strategy, I would say, Terrence, to stay away from Reagans. I'm not a full fade on almost anyone, like even guys like Friedel or, who's the other one I took this draft that I didn't have. People that I don't draft hardly ever, or I do have none of. I'm not against mixing them into certain, well, if I think they have some upside. There are some people who I just don't see any upside for on Underdog in particular.
Yeah, like Bailey Ober.
Like Bailey Ober or like Chandler Simpson, where I just not taking them.
Sure.
And that's just, so there are some I'm just not taking. Bailey Ober I was in on last year, actually. It's just, my gosh, there's a lot of epic fall from grace guys that happen in baseball, and last year Bailey Ober is up there with one of those biggest ones of, like, everyone looked at him as like, oh, breakout pick Bailey Ober, look how high he was being drafted pretty darn high, especially in like roto leagues. He was looked at being as like a dependable guy, and it just crashed and burned, didn't it?
All right.
You're closing it out with Zebby Matthews. All right. So
TJ Stats recommended, bounce back guy, all the stuff in the world. Just needs to figure out how to pitch.
Yeah, definitely. And there's a lot of pitchers that you can mix in here at the end. He's one of them, right? He's just one of those names. Mix him in. If he works, that's awesome. If he doesn't, hey, it was your last pick. So
yeah, I just want to, sorry to interrupt,
go ahead.
The thing with my round 20 pitcher, I either want Quinn Priester or somebody that isn't drafted every draft. I think this is a really big point of emphasis for me in the 20th round this season. Is I want a lot of guys that aren't drafted every time. I don't care if they fail. it's a 20th round, but if they succeed and I have 4% of them and the field has 2%, that's the upside right there in the 20th round.
In this 20th round of this draft we're in, pick number 4, which pick number 4, Michael Dye from the chat, he says 4th pick was fun. This is his team. Look, he did that exact thing. Dustin May. Dustin May is not drafted in every draft. Neither is Bailey Ober, who BWA took. Neither is Mike Burrows, who Jay Sakura took at pick 11. Duggar took Joey Cantillo at pick 12, or I guess that was pick 1. Sorry, I said pick 11. Anyway, you know what I mean. It was the second, regardless. So, I and you called that out the other day in the chat of the stream that I was doing. I think it was with Billy. It could have been with Bloom the other night.
With Ryan, yeah.
It was with Bloom the other night, and you said that exact thing of like looking in the last round for someone who's. It's not that they're never drafted. It's not like you're digging, you're scrolling down like this for a minute, but like you want to scroll down some and mix in the pick of guys that aren't drafted every draft. And I think that is awesome advice. Yep. So Matthew, I had a great time drafting with you tonight. That was sweet.
Yes, I also enjoyed it. It's nice. I'm sorry if I interrupt because my host comes out in me and I want to fill the silence but it's also nice to just not have to host something and be able to hang out.
Just ride along. Well, buddy, it was great. And I did not think at any point that you did that. So if that happened, that was in your mind. Okay. It wasn't in mine.
Okay,
so
perfect.
We're all good.
Perfect.
So do you have time to hang on for a minute while I do a team review of
Absolutely.
A couple guys?
Absolutely.
All right. So we're going to start off down at the bottom. And we'll move towards me and you. So we'll start with Duggar at pick 12. So Duggar went with a 7.76 tonight. And he mentioned in the comments, he said, risking it for the biscuit with this pitching build. So let's see what he's talking about with that. So Hunter Green and Mackenzie Gore, I immediately see why at the top, why you're saying risk it for the biscuit. Trey Savage, Jack Leiter, Garrett Cole, Brady Singer, Joey Cantillo. Yeah, most likely that pitching staff won't work. However, if everyone falls in and has their best role of themselves, it 100% could. So I like the weight at pitching staff whenever you're shooting for that upside. And then he got Ellie, Jr., Eugenio. Well, right there, that is some monster trio to start the infield. With Yandy, that adds so much solidity after that big upside trio. Same with Glaber. And then upside of Connor Griffin and Noelvi Marte. That was a little Cincinnati piece there to go. And then Devers, Riley Green, O'Neal Cruz, Lawrence Butler, Jung-Hoo Lee, Cedric Mullins. So you've got a couple solid guys you've got Jung-Hoo Lee is like a solid pick because Riley Green, O'Neal Cruz, Larry Butler, definitely upside plays. But overall, Duggar, it's a good team. It's tough from pick 12. I don't love pick 12. I don't know about you, Matthew, but I've had pick 12 and I don't love it.
Yeah, you gotta figure out what you're doing there. You got you pull those athletics guys together. I've pulled some Chicago guys stacks there that are out of ADP. Yeah, you got to figure out what you're doing.
Yep, it is not easy to do. Now Bobby Boucher at pick 6. So Bobby Boucher went with a 7.76. So this is again one of the most popular builds. It's one of my most popular. It's one of the most popular that I see is the 7.76. Yeah, and he went with DeGrom, Pablo Lopez, Brandon Woodruff, Ranger Suarez, Shane Smith, Boyd, and Horton. This is pretty similar to that staff that I took in the last draft. And he's got Woodruff with this one. I see this as being a good staff, but maybe not great. But again, you waited, and I think that at least you have the chance that if DeGrom and Woodruff are the best versions of themselves, that the rest of the guys can kind of come along, and I like the Cade Horton swing big at the end there at 222. Pete Alonso, Bryce Harper, Trey Turner, Jackson Holiday, Christian Walker, Isaac Paredes, and Addison Barger. So I immediately noticed the 2 Phillies, the 2 Astros, the 2 Orioles. So Bobby Boucher, he is a very good stack drafter. I've seen him do it just together in our time over and over, and he did it with this one again. Look at the other Philly that he got with Schwarber there, the other Oriole in the outfield with Taylor Ward. He's got an Angels thing going with the Mike Trout and Jorge Soler. I mean, overall, just I didn't even mention Adolis to go in with the Phillies. Like Bobby Boucher, he knows what he's doing and how to stack a good team. I was about to go to I was inverted, but scratch 5, pick 4. Let's go ahead and check out scratch 5. So right off the gates, I see an amazing pitching staff at the top here with Skubal, Yamamoto, Logan Gilbert. Holy crap, what a 3 to start at 21, 45, and 76. So you invested on pitching early, and you've got some great pitching. So let's see how the rest of this team was able to come together. Schwellenbach, Luis Castillo. So he waited, got that middle Schwellenbach, took Luis Castillo at 148, and then too late with Musgrove and Dustin May. So let's look at the hitting. Josh Naylor, Jeremy Pena, Goodman, Tovar, Weatherholt, Herrera, Mason Wynn. Love the late trio of Cardinals. I see the double Colorado. You also got Brenton Doyle and Jordan Beck. We've talked about stacking bad teams, the guys that'll play every day on bad teams, and that's a super fun way to build. I know that Brad will have a thing or two to say about that, won't he, on Saturday night? And then we've got Seattle with Julio, Randy, and Naylor. Really good team, Scratch 5. I like the way your hitting turned out a lot with going with that early pitching. I was inverted, another 776 at pick 3. Luzardo, Bradish, McLean, Sandy, Nola, Trevor Rogers, McClanahan. So one thing I've seen, I've not seen anyone that's gone with any more than 3 pitchers from the same staff. So we've not had like a stack the pitching staff thing going yet. This is a good, solid pitching staff. I'm a big fan of Luzardo, Bradish, and McLean. And then I like all these pieces. And then you've got the upside flyer with McClanahan. Lindor, Machado, Neto, Torkelson, Albies, Royce, and McGonigal. So I see immediately 2 Tigers. We just got the 2 Tiger thing. Soto, Merrill, Happ, Joe Adell, Matt Wallner, and Mr. Driveline himself, Jordan Walker. So overall, I think this is a very solid team. I was inverted. I'm trying to see, I mean, really, you've got good infield, you've got good outfield, you've got good solid pitching. Overall, I think this is just a very good, solid, well put together team. All right, Matthew, we are on you, with you going with 776 as well. A lot of us going 776 this draft. You starting off with Framber. Actually, you want to go through and talk about your team?
Yeah, sure. So Framber, Chase Burns, Yuri Perez, Bubba Chandler, Edward Cabrera, Yusei Kikuchi, and Zebby Matthews. This is I got one safe pitcher and then a bunch of question marks. This is not a staff that I would normally put together, but at the second draft of a stream, you start to do some silly things sometimes. Yeah, so this is a high risk pitching staff.
It is. This is a high risk staff, but it's got high rewards because, again, I told you I love Edward Cabrera. I love Yuri Perez. These are 2 of my favorite pitchers. Bubba is another one that I draft all the time. Chase Burns and Framber are the 2 that I don't draft much of, Matthew, but I definitely, like I said, I definitely know that I need to take some more Framber, and Chase Burns is someone who I've got to kind of force myself to take. Burns and Mizorowski, the reason why I've not been drafting them is simply because I like Nolan McLean, Cam Schlittler, Treya Savage. I just like these other young guys more. Bubba, who goes later. I like these guys more. And you can only have so many of them on the same team, right? But I like your pitching staff. It is very risk reward, though.
Yeah. Yep. And then my infield is Nick Kurtz, Freddie Freeman, Jazz Chisholm, Corey Seager, Murakami, Will Smith, and Max Muncy, who is pictured down there. We have a lot of point potential here in this infield.
That's a monster infield right there.
I almost didn't take Max Muncy here, but the way that Max Muncy profiles is that he is a spike week guy only. I could have gone in another outfielder there. And honestly, the where Will Smith has got to in ADP, I don't love the pick anymore. I liked him when he was going. You could take Smith and Muncy later. I think there's better picks, but he did fall in this draft, and I had the Dodger thing going. So,
well, and I just want to say why I think Will Smith works so good for this team. You do not need Will Smith to be big all the time. What you just need is Will Smith to help you get by when you have some slow weeks or Corey Seager's hurt. Right. Because this infield is incredible. Like, this infield has the chance to absolutely crush. So
yeah, but I did spend more capital than most people spend on infield.
You did. Days. You took 23, 47, 50, 71. So 4 of the top 100 picks.
Right. Which is not common right now, the way that the field is gone. But it's because I was, you can go to the outfield. I'm dreaming on Wyatt Langford here. This lineup is the Wyatt Langford lineup. Judge is Judge, but Wyatt Langford as the second outfielder, like healthy season, like those two guys are my 1 and 2 most weeks, and then I'm just trying to fill a third outfield spot, and all that extra juice that I put in the infield is going to the flex spot, right? This is just saying Wyatt Langford this is his breakout season. He stays healthy, and my 2 infield positions almost every week are filled by him and Judge.
Well, I am a very big fan. I really love what you did here. Again, I do feel, of course, a little risky with your pitching, but I also love some of your pieces. But my gosh, this infield, and if Wyatt Langford does work out as a stud like what you just described, this could happen. This team could happen. I would love so much if one of our teams, me or one of the guys in the drafts, I would love if one of our teams from one of our streams ends up finishing as one of the top teams of this tournament. That would be incredible.
That would be. Yeah. Well, you mentioned DK, 2 years ago, one of my stream DK drafts I did make the finals and get 11th place. So that was nice. Fun. That was fun as I got to the end to go back and watch that stream and see how the weird causes and effects of that draft made that team. It wasn't like intentional on my part. It was a lot of reacting to the draft and stuff.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That really is. And I heard, was it you and Billy talking about doing a shared team that was the highest scoring of the regular season?
No, that was Billy and Jason Wu J.
That's right. That's what it was. Yeah.
They built the best regular season team 2 years ago on stream.
Yep. That's what it was. Yep. You're 100% right. Okay. And then now, I guess last but not least, we'll look and see what sort of crap I put together. Let's find out here. I don't even remember.
I will be honest, as someone, talking about hosting, I don't often review my teams that I host because I've got so many other things going on in my head. I almost don't care about those teams as they go because I know they're going to be weird or bad.
Well, you know what? I'm trying to do both. I'm trying to do it all, my friend. Draft some bangers and keep things moving along smoothly. And I'll tell you my first initial assessment, I like it.
All right.
So I obviously did the rare spend up and went with Schemes and Crochet, the 2-3 swing, which is not really advisable to take 2 pitchers at the top. Sometimes you could say even one, but I was able to wait till then 97, 144, and then the back-to-back 168 and 9. And man, these 6 pitchers that I have, I'm glad I went with the 6 pitcher build. I do want to say that. It's a rare thing for me because I normally want 7, but I'm glad I did the 6 pitcher here because, I mean, if everyone stays healthy, I think that every pitcher that I have could be really good. I realize not everyone will stay healthy. King's been hurt. Freed's had injury problems. Lodolo is Mr. Injury, but they all are, I mean, really good upside. So I'm a big fan of that. Now with my infield, Mookie, Vinny P, Mikael Garcia, Okamoto, Matt McClain, Adley, and Burleson. So overall, I like it. I know that Mookie is going to pair with my Shohei and Teoscar. So I just have 3 Dodgers. You got the rest of them on your team.
I did.
Appreciate that. And then we got Vinny P and Mikael. Now, I didn't get another Casey Royal. I would have added Jack Kaggs to this team, but that didn't happen. And then Matt McClain's one of my favorite picks. I don't take Adley. This is my first Adley. And then I very rarely take Burleson. But I did want to start, like, Burleson and Donovan are both guys that I want to draft more of.
Mm-hmm.
And this outfield, I really like it because what I have with Shohei at the top, that just offers me the way I look at Shohei and Judge, but Shohei in particular. I want to pull this up real quick here. Shohei, more than anyone, even more than Judge, he produces high-level weeks every single week. Aaron Judge, so I have, this is not for Underdog scoring. This is for Best Ball 10 scoring. But I have this, I just pulled up this spreadsheet that I've been working on. So basically I have where if it's a positive week, so I consider it on NFBC a positive week to be 11 or more. Now an impact week is going to be like a high impact is over 30 points, but between 11 to 29, that's like an impact. And then anything over that, because an amazing scoring week is over 75. Those don't happen very often, but Judge has scored over 75, 6.2% of the time in the last 3 years. But here's what I'm getting at. From a positive scoring, Aaron Judge has had 78.9% of his weeks. So almost 80% of his weeks, he's scoring 11 or more. So that's positive. He's been hurt 11% of those weeks. Okay. So that means that's what, 78 plus 11. So 89% of Judge's games are either good or hurt. So only 10% is he actually bad. Right. And Shohei, 91% of Shohei's weeks from a hitting perspective, 91% are positive weeks. Yeah. And he had 5% of his weeks. This is all based off the last 3 seasons. And 5% of his weeks he missed. Because even when he was hurt, you mentioned this earlier, but even if Shohei gets hurt pitching, he was hurt and didn't pitch 2 years ago. He still hit and still crushed. So he can still hit. So my point is Shohei and Judge, they're locked and loaded at the top, and Shohei even more than Judge. Now I just need 2 more outfielders that have to work. Right. And then that flex can just rotate between these other guys that I have. And with with the Stowers and Teoscar, there's my homer upside. Varsho and Carpenter are my homer upside with platoon risk. Well, not so much Varsho. That's kind of an injury risk. Friedel is that potential Jung-Hoo Lee, more dependable base hit floor type of play. And then Mickey Moniak, who I don't draft very often unless I'm taking Colorado, but he doesn't fall to pick 240.
No.
Ever. So this was a big fall for Mickey Moniak. And overall, I'm very happy with my team. much
Yeah.
happier than I usually am in streams. So a lot of times I'm not happy with my stream teams either.
Yeah, I actually do think Mickey Monimac is being overdrafted, so I like that fall.
Yeah, it was a good fall. Well, buddy. So before we hop off here, why don't you let people know where they can find you and where to expect you?
Okay, so you can find me on the Twitter machine. Yes, I still call it that, at D4RKSH33P _. We gotta say that the fans like it when we say that.
Yeah,
And
or don't miss your score.
Stackingdingers.com. We've got written stuff this year there, and that'll get you over to the Stacking Dingers YouTube channel. And yeah, that's it. And yeah,
that's it. Absolutely. Well, bud, I can't wait till the next time that we get on together. Hopefully you can come back and draft with me soon.
yes, thank you for having me.
Mention this. You've started streaming drafts over on Stacking Dingers from your former Sheep Sheets page, which now is on Stacking Dingers.
Yes.
So, hey, if you end up doing a draft some night that I'm not, let me know. I'll jump on with you.
Yeah. Like I said, time is a little bit more crunch this year, so the Sheep
you got a lot going on.
Has been on the back burner, but we will be trying to move that over when I am A, not exhausted on a Friday night, or B, have a Friday night available. So we'll be doing that some more, but we'll have you covered on all the other stuff that we normally do for Stacking Dingers. That is the priority, the pre-recorded strategy stuff.
Which that's what everyone's here for. Everyone wants to hear that, and it's great. So Matthew, a.k.a. Sheep, a.k.a. Dark Sheep, a.k.a. D4RKSH33P _. Thank you again, my friend, and everyone in the chat. Thank you, guys. Remember, keep drafting. See you next time.